Hi, welcome to Miss Richardson's U.S. History 5-Minute Lectures. This information will be U.S. Notes 1.7, Urbanization in the Progressive Era. It includes information aligned with the first section of your study guide. Remember, you control the lecture. Pause the video when you need, write down any questions you have and bring them to class, and rewatch it as often as you need to. And of course, make sure you're using your study guide to help you take the notes. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to make sure that everyone is familiar with the term urbanization. You should have covered this in geography class as a freshman, but let's just review just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Urbanization is the growth of cities and urban centers. During the Gilded Age and Progressive Era, cities were growing rapidly in the U.S. I've really already gone over some background information on this, but just to summarize, industrialization was happening. Factories and industries are built in the cities in order to have access to the workforce and the transportation and central location there. Industrial growth meant job growth in cities. More jobs meant more people were needed to fill the jobs, so more people moved to cities. More people moving to cities means the cities grow. These same individuals working in factories were those who were attracted to cities: farmers and their children, immigrants, African Americans, and unskilled workers. These individuals brought their families to the cities to find good jobs, make good money, and find a better life. Because all of it happened so quickly, cities were unable to keep up with the demands of the population. Today we see this in other countries in LADCs. Maybe you've seen the pictures of, say, New Delhi, India, or Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and their overcrowded slums. Well, the same thing was happening in American cities at the turn of the century. Thousands of people migrated into American cities within a very short period of time. These individuals all needed jobs, housing, food, and public services. There were jobs for some, but not all, which led to lower wages because supply was low and demand was high. Housing was unsafe, unclean, and not designed for the number of people crammed into the area. People were willing to live in poor conditions because there was no other choice. Public services were not available Public services were not available to support all of the people living in the small area of the city. Sewer systems, hospitals, police, there just was simply not enough for the number of needs. Even stores and groceries were lacking basic necessities because there were so many people moving in each day. Cities gained slum areas where the urban poor lived. These areas were unsafe, unhealthy, and crowded. The apartments in these areas were called tenements. Those are crowded, overpriced, dangerous apartments that lacked even the basic necessities. Owners of these buildings would actually move walls to fit as many rooms as possible in a building to collect more rent. These and other issues that were facing the urban poor led to the rise of political machines and political bosses. These individuals and groups gained support of immigrants and other urban poor minorities and used this support to gain and maintain political power. They promised changes, helped the poor with basic needs like finding housing and jobs, and in return they gained loyal political support. While this sounds really positive, there was rampant corruption within the political machines, and that corruption ultimately hurt the people who were supposed to be getting helped by them. So, if urbanization brought all these problems and all this corruption, why did people keep moving to urban centers? Excellent question. Cities still held more opportunities for success than other areas of the country. Remember, in the period I'm talking about, communication was difficult, few people were educated beyond basic middle school education, and even fewer still went to college. Rural options included farming or running a store of some type in a small town, neither of which is possible without money to start. So those that were poor or struggling in the countryside were attracted to the opportunities in the city. Immigrants were often facing persecution in their own countries. They were fleeing oppressive governments or immense poverty. Stories of America as a land of opportunity were plentiful, and that attracted people to American cities. Once a group of immigrants from one area migrated, they would often encourage their friends and family to come as well, so that kind of continued the flow. And young people would move to cities for the glamour and excitement. Everything new and exciting seemed to happen in cities, and living there put you right in the middle of the action. So there are definitely a lot of reasons for people to continue to move to cities, and therefore for cities to continue to grow. So this is the end of U.S. Notes 1.7. I hope you learned something from the 5-minute lecture. I'll see you in class with any questions.